Information fueled.
Opinion driven.
This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
We talk news.
5:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 89.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. Welcome on into a Friday, January 31st. Hope you're doing well. It's Sunday. Did you hear that weather forecast for Sunday? Cannot wait.
What is it?
It's clear, and it's going to be warm.
Oh.
Yeah. Joan, you might want to put that in your forecast in your news.
Okay.
It's going to be really nice weather on Sunday.
You know what we're doing Sunday?
What's that?
We're going out to, what's that winery?
There's a lot
we
of
talked
them.
about. No, the one we like in out by Franklin. Oh, come on.
Amber Falls?
No.
That's the one I used to go to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
Before I swore off drinking.
What, don't you have
Dangrias?
Dangrias?
Yeah, but Amy makes those at home.
Oh, okay. So
Amy
it's okay
can
to drink
control
at home.
my drinking.
That's not drinking?
Well, Amy can control it at home.
Okay.
I'm on a very short leash when it comes to my drinking these days.
And
Anyway,
most
moving
other
on.
things, as I mean, if I can tell.
Sure.
Yeah.
Moving right along. By the way, you can find us on Super Talk TV. That's going to be on X and YouTube. I recommend YouTube. Also, you can download our podcasts anywhere and everywhere. And of course, you can stream us anywhere and everywhere as well. And appreciate you listening here for this Friday. There's a bunch of stories that I have today. We do have the latest on the investigation on the mid-air collision in Washington, D.C. Really surprising reporting from the New York Times. We're going to get into that straight ahead. Also, we've got a lot of the highlights and lowlights with the Senate confirmation testimony of Kash Patel and also Tulsi Gabbard. Really, really compelling. Of course, all the latest on mass deportation as well. Very busy morning here on Nashville's Morning News, so let's get right to it. Yesterday, we spoke about the DEI embedded in the FAA under Joe Biden and Pete Buttigieg. It goes all the way back to Barack Obama. I don't want to have to do yesterday's broadcast all over again, but we did speak about they say 3,000 fully qualified resumes that they received for air traffic controllers, and they were ignored because supposedly they were white and white males. And so we also spoke about how they were looking to fill DEI quotas with unqualified and even mentally ill Americans. It was crazy to hit those actual quotas. Now, in fairness, nobody is saying that they were going to be air traffic controllers, but that tells you the thirst and the passion for DEI and quotas under the FAA. And now we're finding out clear operational issues from the New York Times. Here's what they say, and this is not good. An air traffic controller was reportedly allowed to leave their post early, just before American Airlines Flight 5342 collided in midair with that military helicopter over Washington, D.C. Insiders in a preliminary internal FAA report have started to reveal, they say, catastrophic failures leading up to the aviation disaster that killed 67 people, including 3 soldiers on Wednesday night. Here's some of the details. They say that night an air traffic controller was left to handle both helicopter traffic and manage planes, which should have been a divided duty at that time of the evening, according to the New York Times. So one person doing the job of 2 at a time when you needed more than one person. They say those tasks are usually handled between 2 people from 10 a.m. until 9:30 p.m., according to the report. After 9:30, the duties are typically combined and left to one person as the airport sees less traffic later in the night. And that makes all the sense in the world, because less traffic, you only need that one person. A supervisor reportedly decided to combine those duties before the scheduled cutoff time and allowed one air traffic controller to leave work early. So to hear it, basically what happens is you got several or a couple air traffic controllers. One of them wants to go home early. And the supervisor says, go ahead. You know, John has it. No problem. You go right on ahead. And poor John, or whoever this one air traffic controller is, was left to handle all of the work, managing planes and the helicopters. They say the FAA report said the staffing configuration was not normal for the time of day and volume of traffic. They say it does remain unclear why the supervisor allowed the worker to clock off early on Wednesday night, just before the mid-air collision. If that is what led to this mid-air collision, that is a catastrophic failure. But there's more to the story. They say it also emerged that the Army helicopter, which was carrying those 3 soldiers involved in the collision, might have also deviated from its approved flight path. It was flying too high. And they're also questioning what we all have been questioning. How in the world did that helicopter not see this big old plane? New York Times, again, spoke with insiders that said that the Black Hawk helicopter was not on its approved route and flying higher than it should have been. Approval had been given for the helicopter to fly no higher than 200 feet along the east side of the Potomac River. So that's important. Helicopter was supposed to be flying no higher than 200 feet along the east side of the Potomac River, where it would have avoided the passenger jet. However, it was flying higher than 200 feet. They say the pilot of the helicopter confirmed sight of the American Airlines flight and was told to stick to their predetermined route and go behind the plane. But sources say the pilot did not stick to the path and was a half-mile off course, as well as being at an altitude above 300 feet. So the pilot of the helicopter was not supposed to be above 200 feet. Turns out he was above 300 feet, and he was a half-mile off course. And he admitted that he had seen the airplane. A senior Army official telling the New York Times that the pilot of the Black Hawk had flown the route before and was well aware of the tight altitude restrictions and the routes as well. So as the jet approached the runway, those on board the jet had asked air traffic control to change their runway. According to the FAA report, the plane had been cleared to touch down on runway 1 of Reagan, the main airport thoroughfare, but the controller then asked the pilot to land on runway 33. A source telling the New York Times that such a move is routine, especially with regional jets, and that the decision might have been made to prevent clogging on the main runway. 5 current and former controllers also telling the New York Times that the lone controller in the tower should have been more proactive in directing the two away from each other. The darkness, they say, also could have played a part in what made it so difficult for both pilots to actually gauge their distance apart, according to sources. And so there's a number of different avenues that are under investigation. And I mean, they found the black box, I believe, Joan. They found the black box, right?
They found
right?
both.
All right. So they found both black boxes. So they've got to go through all of that. Did you watch the press conference at all yesterday, Joan, with the NTSB?
I did not.
So there was a moment, and I can't wait to share this with you, because there was a moment where NBC News tried to throw Donald Trump right under the bus, and the woman with the NTSB was having none of it. I've got that audio. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. By the way, Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986. So yesterday at this press conference, NBC News asked about Donald Trump offering up his opinions on the crash right after it happened. Jennifer Hamady is the NTSB chair. Listen to the question.
Hello, Sir Tom Costello with NBC News. Does a further investigative process, maybe for the chairman, does a further investigative process have the president already suggesting possible causes here as you try to keep an open mind and begin this investigation?
Now, knowing all that we know about all the DEI in Washington, D.C., the hatred for Donald Trump in Washington, D.C., Trump's contention, of course, that DEI hiring and policies could be involved here, among other things. Going after Buttigieg and so forth is what President Trump did. The head of the NTSB, her name is Jennifer Hamady.
Wait, can you do one thing?
Yes.
Can you read the text of what the reporter said back? Do you have it? Because it was hard to hear.
You know what?
There was a guy breathing into a mic very intently.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
You didn't hear that?
No.
I don't know what that was, but yeah, there's something going on there. It was hard to hear.
It was definitely a guy had a stuffy nose right next to
You
a
need
mic.
me to read it for you because you're looking
No,
at that
you know
screen
what?
like.
No, hold on.
So Tom Costello with NBC News. Does it hurt your investigative process, maybe for the chairman, does it hurt your investigative process to have the president already suggesting possible causes here as you try to keep an open mind and begin this investigation?
It turns out I had a better recording of
Yeah,
that.
that was better.
So here's what the head of the NTSB said, throwing the media right under the bus and not taking the bait.
Tom, with all due respect, I think the press also likes to state what probable cause is before we get to the probable cause.
There you go.
So what I'm going to say is you need to give us time. You need to give NTS. It's not that we don't have information. We do have information. We have data. We have substantial amounts of information. We need to verify information. We need to take our time to make sure it is accurate. That's best for you. That's important for the families. It's important for legislators who are seeking answers to try to figure out what they're going to do about this. And so it will take time. We do have a lot of information, but we need some time to verify that.
So there you go. Again, Jennifer Hamady not taking the bait. And she understands that there's a lot of political maneuvering that is going on here. God dog it.